Welcome to the Lean Life podcast, where holistic nutrition meets deep healing and soul-level wellness. This is a space where we connect mind, body, and spirit, where lean means shedding the layers, returning to who you truly are, and nourishing yourself from the inside out. I'm Lauren Ahola, your host and holistic registered dietitian with over a decade of experience, and I've learned that real healing goes far beyond food. It's emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. If you're ready to go deeper, reconnect with yourself, and truly lean into all that you are, you're in the right place. Let's do this. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this part 2 series of Food as Energy. Today, we're going to talk about the mindset, emotions, and your relationship behind eating. If you missed the first episode of this 2-part series, that was more about looking at the physical of food and macros and calories and breaking that down. So if you haven't listened to that one yet, it might be good to go back and just get that background first. But today, what we're going to go into is something you might not really think about with food so much. So doing this for 14 years, I started much more with the physical, right? I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat perfectly, I'm going to track my calories, my macros. What I've learned from myself and working with so many individuals is it's definitely not the full picture. In 2015, I got more into yoga and did yoga training, and that definitely opened me up energetically. And then I've always had that aspects of myself, like just believing in higher power and faith and meditation and journaling. But I will say the more that I have dove into this path of the emotions and energy, like food is just connected like everything else, right? If food is energy, we're going to break that down even further today and to just help you start to understand this relationship that you have with food, because it's something that can dramatically change how your body experiences nourishment. If you're somebody who has been tracking everything and eating perfectly and just not seeing the results you want, I would encourage you to listen to this, and even if you pick up on a tip or two, because sometimes I see people on paper eating perfectly, and the scale is just not changing, and it can be super frustrating. And sometimes it's just so unexplainable, right? But if the mind has these beliefs, and we say to ourselves that I can't lose weight, or I'm going to be sick if I eat this, we really, really start to believe that. So let's get into it. All right, I'm going to start with this big concept of food as energy, and everything around us is energy. Our bodies are made of energy, our thoughts, our emotions, the food we eat, the environment around us, relationships you have are energy, money is energy, your work has an energy around it. And so this relationship with food is really like, what's our relationship with energy? And that is a big question to ask yourself. And I don't know the exact numbers. I'm not a quantum physicist, but I will say that as humans, we are a very small fraction of physical. Our body, it's like 0.9999% physical matter is what we're made of. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's very small. But the rest of us is energy, right? It's energy, it's spirit, it's soul, it's all these things we can't see. But we don't put any emphasis on it. It's just like, meet these calorie goals, work out, get results, that's it. But I'm going to challenge you today to open your mind a little bit more, to look at energy and food and your relationship with it as something deeper, something more. And so I guess a good way for me to explain this is, we can't always see things, right? So let's say you walk into a room and you walk in pretty neutral, right? And then you walk into the room and there's people in there that are smiling and you feel really good, right? You feel like you're lit up, you're whole, like you leave that room feeling really good. All right, now you walk into a next room and you pick up on all these vibes of negativity and people are fighting or it just doesn't feel good. You feel that, right? You can't deny those things that we feel. And so we may not be able to see it, right? You can't see love, but we know love is real. You can't see fear. We know fear is real. So energy is just as real, and food can also be related to that. And so this is where I'm going to say that food is just a part of us, right? So with looking at energy, the nutrients in food become our cells, our hormones, our enzymes. And it's not just what we eat, it's also the state we're in when we eat that matter. And our body is always receiving signals. And so we have this big mind-body connection with food, and our thoughts and emotions affect digestion more than people realize. So when we are stressed, rushed, or anxious, the body shifts into fight or flight mode. In this state of fight or flight mode, our digestion slows, stomach acid decreases, and our nutrient absorption is reduced. And so now imagine yourself eating a meal while thinking, this will make me gain weight. I shouldn't be eating this. I need to burn this off later. Like, who here might be guilty of saying that? Your body's receiving those signals. And it's not always a coincidence when somebody says, I knew this meal would make me sick. And then it did. I've been there. It's like, oh, I'm really scared to go out and eat this. What if I get sick? And then you leave feeling really sick. It's like, was it the food or did you tell yourself that? It's definitely something to consider. So your nervous system plays a powerful role in digestion. And your nervous system is related to energy as well. It picks up on all these signals of everything around us. And when I'm saying fight or flight is this place of your nervous system that is like your sympathetic, right? I'm running from a tiger place. We also have our parasympathetic nervous system, which is a place of rest and digest. We're calm, things are good, and we feel relaxed, and we need both. Our fight or flight mode back in the day was used more if a tiger's running at us, right? Caveman days, you got to run if a tiger is coming at you. But at this point in life, we're not really running from tigers. So our nervous system has adapted to be in fight or flight from, our emotions, our thoughts, even being in traffic, or definitely our past shapes our nervous system in fight or flight. If we've had past relationships with food and negativity around food, can definitely impact how our body responds now, even if we're not consciously aware of it. Our subconscious mind makes about 90% of our thoughts, and those are the thoughts that we aren't aware of. We have our conscious mind, which makes up 10% of our thoughts, and those are the programs that we run on that we're consciously aware of. So not to freak you guys out or anything, but you have to kind of understand there's so much going on that we're not consciously aware of on a day-to-day basis that could be impacting every aspect of our life, including our relationship with food and the results that we're trying to get. So yes, but the more we can kind of catch that, because this is something we can do, is in our power of being like, okay, I'm getting really stressed out. I feel like I'm running from a tiger, or I know, food stresses me out and I go into a meal kind of anxious and then it just makes it even worse, is just take a few pauses, come back to your breath, and that can bring you more to your parasympathetic nervous system, which is this place of rest and digest. We absorb our food better in that place. More of the blood flow goes back to your stomach and helps you digest your food. And it just allows everything to relax. There's such this mind-gut connection, which is a very, very interesting topic. So just to kind of pause and see where you're at on a day-to-day basis, it's always important to have those check-ins with ourselves. But we'll actually come back to that, because I have a little intersection here of just the power of our thoughts, right? So kind of getting back to that point of energy of what food is. I don't know if you guys you can Google this and look into all the studies on it, but there are so many studies of water and what you say to water and how it changes the physical matter of it. So let's say you were to label one jar of water, right? You put them in glass jars. One jar, you put labels on it or say nice things to it, like, I love you, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you can do anything. And then you have another jar of water that you write or say mean things to, of like, I hate you, you're ugly, you can't do this, just give up. And you just let those sit for a week or two. And then if you were to look in a microscope, you can see that the actual structure of the molecules has changed. The one you say nice things to turns to beautiful crystals. The one you say mean things to has all these fragments and breakages and just starts to kind of fall apart. And so we are made of water. I would say at least 70% of water our body is made of, right? And these same kind of things, studies have been done with rice, plants, apples. We all kind of know the plants one, right? You say nice things to your plants, they grow better. And then rice as well. And you can do this with any foods. But let's say you say nice things to rice or apples, or mean things to rice or apples. And then after a week, one will turn and stay in its most beautiful state, and the other can turn brown and gross. So we really, really just have to consider this. It brings us deeper of, let's say you have a food in front of you or anything that you're eating, and we start to think, oh my God, everything on this plate, I'm going to have to burn off. This is too much. I shouldn't be eating this. We put all that energy in our food and then we eat it and then we become it. Because what energy we put into things and then we digest or absorb, we become. And so we also really have to think about those thoughts that we have within ourselves on a day-to-day basis, right? We can be our own worst critics and be so mean to ourselves of, you should be doing this, or you should be at this point in your life, or I'm only, I'll be worthy when I weigh this much, or just give up, whatever it is. I know I'm not perfect with it and I can catch myself, but just to kind of remind yourself that these are just thoughts and who says they are the truth. And so a powerful exercise with that really has helped me is to start to just pause with those thoughts, right? It can be hard not to attach and really feel into them and then spiral and create all these stories. But if you just kind of start to pause with those thoughts and even jot them down on paper, usually you'll find it's probably an average of 8 to 10 of the same thoughts you have on a daily basis. And I'll say I even take it a step further if you want to. We're going to label these negative thoughts as your small self. And so your small self wants to keep you small, stuck in these old patterns that feel safe. This goes back to the nervous system. Even though it sounds crazy, that fight or flight mode, our nervous system wants to keep us in a place that we feel safe. So even though it's crazy, it's what your nervous system knows. It knows these negative thoughts. It knows nothing will change if you stay here. So it's almost like this protective mechanism. But when you start to sit with it more and realize it's okay to change and you can change, we can start to rewire these things and get your body to feel more comfortable and safe in a new state. All right, so first step, start to observe the thoughts. Write them down on one side of the paper of all the negative thoughts you have. I'll say I give my small self and all these negative thoughts a name. I'm sorry if you know anybody or your name is Barbara. This is my lady. And it's been really powerful to do some meditations on this and just kind of bring it into light. And I imagine this woman, she looks like a Snapchat character, just really kind of awful and mean, coming to knock on my door and tell me all the awful things that I say to myself of you're not good enough, you can't do this, just give up. And it just sounds so ridiculous to me at the time that it almost makes it who are you? I would never invite you in. And I shut the door and I just kind of push her out. But then when she's not there, right, what else remains is more your best self, your most positive thoughts. And that can take some work to get to. What I encourage you to do is on that other side of the paper is write the opposite. Right? Of, I can't do this. I can do this. Or I can't lose weight. I am my most healthy, confident self. I can lose weight. Or I'll never be enough. I am enough as I am. Or I feel beautiful today. Or whatever that is. The thing is, it's probably not going to feel real at first, but I'll tell you, your first job going to your interview, you probably didn't think that you could do that either. So it's kind of a fake it till you make it energy, right? You show up at this job interview and you're like, all right, I know everything, but inside you're kind of freaking out and you're like, oh God, I don't know how to do any of it. But you get the job, you learn from being an experience, and before you know it, it just becomes who you are and you're so confident in it. So I encourage you to take some time, if this resonates with you, to sit down and write out those thoughts and start to shift more towards the positive. The thoughts still likely will come, but we just don't let them overtake us and start to be like, I get to choose. What fills me up? Does this thought serve me? And the answer is no. Let's not give it the energy. The more energy we give it, the bigger it becomes. And so why I say this is because even, in that first episode, we talk about all the food you're eating, right? But this matters just as much. And let's kind of bring this into mentioning those foods that you eat, right? So we need to have the positive thoughts for ourselves, but also bringing that into your food. So a practice that I like to do for that, and it's really helped me. I've had so many years of eating disorders and restriction and just fear of gaining weight and allowing myself to eat a normal amount that I knew I should be eating and telling my clients I should be eating. But before a meal, and you don't have to say this out loud, right? You can do it in your head. Nobody needs to know you're doing it. Before your meal, pause. Take a couple deep breaths and you can say whatever you want. I'll say this was what I say. It works for me is that I imagine this food digesting well and giving me all the nutrients that I need to be my most confident, healthy self. And you can add in other things, right? This food is nourishing my body. I trust my body to digest this well. This meal is giving me the nutrients I need to feel strong, confident, and energized. And then just visualize all of that happening within your body. And whether it is this healthy salad that you've made at home and you're drinking lemon water with it, great, do it with that. Or if you've gone out to eat with friends and are, indulging in apps and pizza or a drink, give it that same energy too. And often you might even find that makes you more mindful during the meal. It makes you appreciate. We stop when we're full, we're present with it, and then not carry that guilt onto the night or the next day. And so that has been really helpful for me. So I wanted to share this today. And it also helps to regulate your nervous system we were talking about, to bring it to more digestion and safety, because a lot of it is our body just wants to feel safe. And so, yes, make your lists, do the practices. They really, really do work. They really, really do work over time. And I will say all of this is a practice, right? So just because you may not be seeing the results right away or the thoughts changing, everything in life is a practice. And we do expect, because today in life, everything is instant, right? It's like I can get my Amazon purchase at my door the next day, or, I want to lose weight real quick, or fix this problem and have AI design it for me in an instant, which sometimes is great, right? But the real things in life takes time. You want to get a good job, you go to school, you don't expect to have the degree the next day, you start to save your money. That'd be awesome to have it instant, but it grows over time. And so do these habits. So if you don't see it right away, just be patient with yourself. And even doing 1 to 2 new things a day can be really, really helpful. And so this is also another important part of it, is our relationship with food, right? As I see so many people who come in and they're like, I really, really want to develop a better relationship with food. It is hard. We are growing up in a culture where it is just not encouraged. We may not have been shown this as a kid. We likely have not been. But I will say this relationship with food, like I mentioned in the beginning, is that we have relationships with everything. And food is just another relationship, right? What is our relationships like with money, work, exercise, our body? It's really no different. But it's funny. I was having a conversation with a friend today, because I do nutrition for work and she's a financial coach. She's my financial coach. And she's like, we're opposites, right? I've been working with her to manage and having my own business. I grew up in a family that was a lot of lack and fear around money. And it definitely is so embedded in my nervous system. And for her, it's just what she does. She's so comfortable around it. And she's working on more of the food part and getting in a better state with her relationship with food and her body. And she's like, I know it's all energy. And I'm like, me too. I know it's all energy. But why is one area so much harder than the other? So we all have different areas to work on. But it's good to see just your relationships in general, right? So I'm going to give you guys an example here of friendships. So let's think about food as a friend, right? So you have this one friend who just completely ignores you. They don't check in. They don't care what you're up to. You've just lost touch with them, right? And maybe you've put in some effort and they just don't. So you're like, okay, that doesn't feel good. And then you have this other friend who's on the other extreme that is kind of up your butt. And they're always calling you and texting you and trying to plan out your whole life. I will tell you, neither of those is going to feel good. This relationship with food, too, is that we sometimes may have times where we completely ignore it and say, frig it, I'm going to do whatever I want and don't care. And then we might be like, oh, that feels really bad and I've lost control. And then we try to micromanage everything and we're like, okay, if I track every little thing and I'm perfect and I go to the gym and I don't mess up, and you'll realize that's really hard to sustain, too. Right? So it's bringing in this flow. One of your best friends, right? A good friendship is somebody that you connect. When you see them, it feels really good. There's this mutual of like, hey, I'm here for you. But then you kind of let it go and flow, right? And anything new you're working on is always going to feel a little more challenging, or more time, I will say. That new things just require a little more time. And so if this relationship with food is, at the forefront of your mind, you're like, I'm going to work on this, you likely will think about it more. And that's normal. That's okay. But the more you kind of work on it and develop these habits and systems that just flow, and it's like, oh, I'm going to, set myself up for the week and get some groceries that fill my house with good energy and joy, and be able to go out on a Friday night and enjoy it, or plan my meals and bring gratitude to my food. It's like everything can flow a little easier. And so that's just, I like to bring it up because I don't think anybody ever thinks about food that way. And a good just evaluation to be like, where am I at on this spectrum, right? And no judgment either way, but asking yourself, what do you want your relationship with food to be like? What would feel like a healthy relationship for food for me? Because we can truly get to decide and shift it. yeah, just some food for thought. The best relationships have trust, space, and balance. And a healthy relationship with food involves awareness, flexibility, and trust. And so another aspect to just think about with energy, because I told you, I get into it deep. It just makes so much sense to me and has helped me so much with my eating disorder that I cannot not share this with people. Like I said, I don't expect you to get it overnight, but if any of this hits and feels like in your gut, like, oh, that makes sense, expand on it, take it in a little more, see where it leads you. Another aspect of energy that is very involved with food is this energy of receiving, right? How do you do with receiving? How do you do with receiving compliments or money or joy or abundance, love, rest? Do you think that you are worthy of that, right? We're in a culture that is very much a giving culture. Giving is the opposite of receiving. We need both. There's a balance there. But giving, right? We give time, energy, support. We help people. A lot of us are much more comfortable with giving. And I can say I was totally like that and still am. I've come a long way. But I will say, so big theme with me, and I'm noticing this in my current journey with my financial advisor, is overgiving. I spent so much of my life feeling much more comfortable giving, right? I didn't think I deserved any of it. With exercise and overeating, I would run to the point of being exhausted. I had nothing left to give. I would eat to a point of just enough to burn off. If I ate too much, I don't deserve this. I have to burn it off. It was this energy of not feeling worthy enough to receive. I need to hold on to some of this energy for myself. I deserve it. I deserve the nourishment. I deserve my bank account to feel abundant. I deserve to feel energized. And my gosh, is that hard to do. And so just to check in, how do you do with allowing yourself to receive things? And with food, it might come along, it's a clue, right? If you notice these things within yourself of restriction, not eating enough, I don't deserve this, trying to burn it all off, guilt around eating, those are energies of not feeling worthy enough to receive, which might be the root cause of it all. So knowing, and this is a practice, right? With exercise, I had to stop running for a while to actually learn what it felt like to be like, okay, I got to leave some left in the tank. I was just so used to killing myself. And to find that balance where I know what it feels like to move but hold on to energy for myself so I can make it through the day. Or to eat to a point where I feel nourished and good and not waiting hours and hours to eat. So I am so hungry and exhausted that then I overeat and find this balance, or I guess I wouldn't say balance, I would say opposite of balance, where I am trying to burn off so much. Allow yourself to receive. You deserve it. And that would be some good journaling questions to get into as well of what can I receive more of? And do I think I deserve it? Because I will tell you do. The hardest part is for you to believe that you do. And then just to kind of bring this all together, right? Because you aren't who you are just out of nowhere. Our past definitely shapes who we are and our relationship with food, right? This is where it all starts from. Most of our beliefs form from the ages of 0 to 7. So what was your relationships like with food growing up as a child or in your home? And some questions to ask: was food a joyful part of family meals? Was there pressure to clean your plate? Was food used as a reward or punishment? Were meals rushed and convenient? Did your parents model a healthy relationship with food? These experiences shape the belief we carry today. And it can be hard to go back into your past, but to bring some, I guess, compassion and love for your past to know it made you who you are today. I'll say we all have different pasts. I don't have reasons for why things happen to people, but I will say that if there's constant themes coming up in your life, maybe some of the themes we went over today regarding energy and food, you can relate to other areas. Likely it's worth exploring going deeper into your childhood and really starting to ask yourself, like, when did these start? Because we're all adults running on our childhood programs. That's where we learn everything. Just because we're adults does not mean we have it all figured out. And to go back and just to revisit and give that younger self some love and ask him or her, like, what do you really need? What would you encourage that child to do with food, with energy, with life? And maybe just having a conversation with them can be really helpful. This is a really loaded topic that, you might want to get into more with your therapist, or I've done so much work, and I will do some episodes on this of shadow work, inner child work, but bringing this aspect into your relationship with food can really, really be helpful. It's where true lasting changes can really start to happen on that subconscious level we talked about, those thoughts we aren't aware of. And so here are some closing messages for today. Food isn't just calories or macros. Food is information. Food is energy. Food is nourishment meant to support the life you want to live. So the invitation is simple. Slow down, look at the colors on your plate, and take a deep breath before eating to just remind yourself that food is here to help you and you're worthy of it. And thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. This has been fun, and I look forward to chatting with you next time.